It is 6 p.m. We will call the special meeting of the Economic Development Commission to order at 6 p.m. August the 4th. We have no, well, do we have any citizens to be heard? I don't think so.
No, Mr. President.
Okay. First item for discussion and action is selection of respondent for the request for sealed bids for the City of Helotes, Texas pre-engineered manufactured pedestrian bridge site work and bridge abutment construction, et cetera, et cetera. I think, Rick, you prepared the documents on this, didn't you?
Yeah, I'll come up and speak on this item, sir. Thank you, President. Included on your dais tonight are essentially the facts related to the bids that we received for the pedestrian bridge, but also from the general contractors to install the bridge plus the sidewalks. And so I want to go through here because I think that this fleshes out the concerns that Director Hale and some of the other directors had at the last meeting. As you know, we received 4 bids from general contractors on July 26th for the install portion of this project. The scope of work for that was to include the site work to construct 2 concrete bridge abutments, unload the delivered bridge, and it'll come in 2 sections, and assemble and set in place a 10-foot wide by 160-foot long pre-engineered pedestrian bridge. Of course, this is going across Helotes Creek, and it's going to be adjacent or next to the existing vehicular bridge on Old Bandera Road. They will also be responsible for the poured-in-place concrete decking on the bridge and the expansion joint cover plate installation, which essentially prevents people from tripping as they go over into the bridge. There were 2 add-alts for this project. The first one was a walk connection at the pedestrian bridge with handrails, and that's from the existing sidewalks that are on either side of the Helotes Creek, connecting them actually to via sidewalks to the bridge itself, plus handrails where needed. There are some significant grades out there in certain areas, and add-alt 2 was installing, essentially ripping out all what they call concrete riprap, which if you look at a creek and the bridge on either side as it slopes up, there's a whole bunch of concrete. That's to prevent erosion. That add-alt was to rip it out and replace it with new concrete riprap, and also to add some shoulder drains to that area. And all of this was originally designed as a part of the Helotes Creek Linear Park. The bid tabs that came in, essentially you had Hill Country Bridge at $132,000. The next bid to go, and this is only on the base bid, which would be the bridge and the abutments, bridge install and the abutments themselves. The next contractor was CGC General Contractors for $150,000, and it went on from there. Again, add alt 1, you can see the prices on the second sheet there. That was for the sidewalk and the handrails, and add alt 2 was to replace the concrete riprap. Looking at this, Hill Country Bridge is the apparent low bidder, or as the mayor said, they are not the apparent low bidder, they are the low bidder, looking at the base bid. We did conduct phone interviews with Hill Country Bridge references. All of their references were predominantly the City of San Antonio in this area, and all of both the City of San Antonio and the Municipal Golf Association, which I believe is associated with the City of San Antonio somehow, all gave excellent reviews of Hill Country Bridge and the work that they've completed in the past. And you can go through the packet that was sent out to y'all, and you can see that they have done several pedestrian bridges particularly at golf courses, and I think at Woodlawn Lake and some other San Antonio parks. We did this last Wednesday meet with Hill Country Bridge on site to see how we could, not only we wanted to clarify certain parts of their bid pricing, but to see where it would be possible to perhaps cut or lower the cost, particularly with additive alternate number 2 related to the sidewalks and the handrails. Fortunately, they did not lower their price, and we didn't believe that they would, on the pedestrian bridge installed, the abutments themselves. We're still at the 131, 192.70 for that price. They did lower the sidewalk connections on both sides from the 64,100 to 15,000. And actually, that 15,000 is amount not to exceed. They quoted us in the field anywhere from 10 to 12,000, but to allow some wiggle room, I put in $15,000 here. The drastic reason for the cut is we took out the handrail component. Within the Helotes Creek Linear Park, they were speccing TxDOT standard or City of San Antonio standard galvanized rails, the kind that you kind of see that look like rainbows in a lot of places. Those are, according to Hill Country Bridge, extremely expensive for them to manufacture. And I'm not sure that they would look appropriate in Old Town anyway. We have handrails that were done several years ago through a local welding shop in San Antonio. They're painted bronze or to look bronze, and they look still quite good. And so we agreed with them that we could remove the handrail portion and do that ourselves, and that would lower the cost to $15,000. We declined the riprap component. The riprap would essentially, the existing riprap that's there is in good condition. It doesn't have any cracks, it's not pulling up, it's not moving at all significantly. What we would do instead, and what Hill Country Bridge thinks is the best idea, would essentially be to saw cut where the actual abutments would be installed, okay? And not have to take out all of the concrete that's there. So what they would be doing is saw cutting, removing concrete, and then they would be building the abutments, and they would be sealing between the concrete and the new abutments, which is certainly, in our opinion, a fine thing to do. That concrete riprap, again, has no cracks in it. It's perfectly fine. The handrails by others, again, I told you that we would be looking. I did get an estimate from San Antonio Quality Fence. They're arguably one of probably the biggest fencing producers, welding manufacturers in San Antonio. And their linear foot price was $50 a square foot. We're looking at about 75 linear feet in areas where the grades are significant. And so when you multiply that, it's about $3,750. Again, that's an estimate on my part. So the general contractor total would be about $150,000. The exact price is there on the second sheet. If you add that to Wheeler Lumber's price for the pedestrian bridge itself, plus remember the handrails that y'all elected to include within their bid, that equaled $141,060, and so the total project cost is just over $291,000. Going to the second page, or the third page, under financial, we go through exactly, again, as we did before, we're deducting the capital project balance that the EDC does have from what we anticipate to be the total project cost, which would leave approximately $120,000 that the EDC doesn't have in its capital fund. We did consult with, it's now Hilltop Securities. It used to be, when we took out the bond issuance, it was First Southwest, I believe. Hilltop Securities ran new amortization schedules, assuming a transfer of 2015 C of O money in the amount of $121,000 from the city's account to the EDC's account to pay the difference that it would cost to do the project in full. And you can see the amortization schedules underneath that. I apologize for the font size, but if you turn to the following page, that's probably the most important for y'all. You can see what the increase in the annual and monthly payment would be for each year from 2018 to 2035. Really, it's, in my opinion, a nominal amount. It goes anywhere from $4,000 a year increase in C of O payment up to a little over $12,500. And that goes anywhere from $335 a month up to $1,000, a little over $1,000 a month. So the recommendation that we have tonight, particularly because I believe that y'all's budget can accommodate even up to the $12,000 figure, would be to formally select Hill Country Bridge for the pedestrian bridge site work and abutment construction. Add the sidewalk connections without the handrails, decline the riprap, and essentially come up with a total of $146,192.70 for Hill Country Bridge. Excuse me, and add on the $37.50 for handrails. So basically, to approve Hill Country Bridge as the general contractor and the total project cost not to exceed $149,942.70. If you do that tonight, we will assume that the EDC, and y'all can of course talk about this, that the EDC wishes to amend its agreement with the city on the repayments of the certificates of obligation in order to accommodate the additional $121,000. In order to accomplish that formally, we can certainly move the money as needed in the interim, but to formally cement that, we would have a resolution that would amend the joint financing agreement, or whatever is in the bond documents, I forget what the document is called, to show these new amortization schedules, and that essentially would be it. Both the EDC and council would have to approve that, and we could, and that would be it. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question. So Rick, excuse my voice.
I understand.
So it sounds like you're going with Wheeler to install this.
We would recommend Hill Country Bridge to do the installation and the concrete work, yes.
Okay.
And Wheeler would be the pedestrian bridge manufacturer.
Just the bridge itself?
Yes.
I think we've already
I got it.
approved that.
You approved, well, what we have done is we have alerted Wheeler that they are the low bid on that project, and that contingent upon tonight y'all
Yes.
approving this contract,
Right.
they will officially have won that award. They're in the process right now because they wanted to get a head start. They're currently designing that bridge in order to move the project on a little quicker. Of course, that's at their risk. I did put up on the screen here what the bridge, again, this was in the prior packet, but essentially that's a Pratt or an H-truss bridge, and that's what the bridge would look like, albeit it would be significantly longer than that, so.
Any questions, Kathy?
What is this right here? The
Total.
Bond debt service from First Southwest.
This is the revised amortization schedule. So the first page on this would be the total debt service amount for the 2015 bond issuance. That hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed are the two schedules after that, one being for the city itself and one being for the EDC, where it says EDC supported debt. And that's where each one of those total debt services between 2018 and 2035 has either increased by the $4,000 to $12,000 per year. Again, that is a staggered. That's why it looks weird. Normally, you have kind of the same payment throughout the life. Remember, we staggered that to take into consideration the 2007 CFOs that we did for the improvements to Old Town. So once the EDC and the city pays that debt off, then you'll notice that the payment rises for the 2015. And basically, it's just a staggered way of doing a schedule in order to make sure that from the city side that we didn't have to raise the tax rates to accomplish the long-term financing of the debt.
So the total project cost, total, is 291.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Plus the financial cost of the 121 we're borrowing.
For
Then
the-
we have to borrow 120 because
121, yeah.
all we have is 170.
Yes.
Right.
And so we have to borrow 120 and pay so much.
Well, we would, the money's already in the bond, we would just assume that portion of the
Yeah.
bond payment from the city. We don't have to go through any other, we'd have to go get another loan.
It's a balance sheet issue.
Sure.
So we'll just we'll deduct 121,000 out of the city's balance sheet of that portion of the money and put it into the EDC's assets.
But we still have to pay it back.
Yes.
That's what the additional.
I'm just saying, we have to pay it
Whereas,
back.
yes.
The
So,
EDC.
like I said,
That's why we have this
that's
ledger
where it
of
goes from anywhere
payments.
From the 4,000 up to the $12,000
Sure.
additional per year.
Sure,
We're assuming that liability.
yeah.
As a percentage, what, do we know what increase that is above? I guess I could do the math. Is it, I'm just wondering how significant that is above what we're currently paying. Is this it's $335 to
It would be.
$1,100, is that is that 10% above what we're currently paying, or is that 60%?
Well, if you divided the 4,000 for the 2018 payment into 40, y'all are currently paying 44,000 for 2018. So
Okay.
if you divided 4,000 into 44,000, that would be, so,
About 10%.
yes.
Okay. That's not terrible.
Is it the banker? You got any questions, Diane?
No, I don't think I do. I think I got it.
Well, we got into a discussion at the last meeting a little bit about this. I think there's, you were asking how we could leverage this to the city's advantage. One, we probably won't change, or the city probably won't change where they're doing market days, but you could easily, the group down at the shops at Old Town has started having an art show like once a month or something, or once a quarter. They could have that art show on the same day as the market days and increase the crowd, would increase their traffic a lot, and it probably would increase market days traffic some too, with the people coming to both events. Then they can park one time and not take their life in their hands to walk across the bridge, going back and forth between the two sections of town.
And did we decide that we're gonna have lights on it or not? I know we went back and forth, we're talking about LEDs.
We were
and-
talking about probably putting in a couple more street lights, like one on it, like similar to what we have on each end.
This
Light
cost would,
bridge.
the cost that we presented has no electrical or anything on it. Electrical is in the area, and that's something that we could do through our Public Works Department.
Okay.
After everything is installed. The one component I didn't include in here is we're gonna have some landscaping and stuff that we're gonna have to repair or redo. Our Public Works Department will do that after it's done. So we can look in the future to lighting it or doing some, with Christmas lights or however we wanna handle that.
No additional cost to the EDC?
No additional cost, well,
There is no additional cost to the EDC for the landscaping or anything like that. Likely, your total cost here is the $291,000.
Okay.
Now, does this still need to be approved by the city council?
No. The project was identified within the, the transfer of the 121,000 has to be approved by both y'all and also by the city council. Yes.
But not the bridge itself, the bridge construction? and
The bridge
installation.
construction, all that was already included as a part of the budget this year and in prior budgets, and it's a part of the bond issuance. So I specifically identified the pedestrian bridge. So I think you're fine, but we will have to get city council to approve that formal agreement change in the way of how we address the financing.
Okay, got it.
if everybody's in agreement, could we have a motion to authorize the transfer of funds by ledger entry to accommodate the difference between the $149,972 total award and the $120,000 or $170,000 that we have in the current budget, and issue orders to proceed or award to Wheeler and Hill Country Bridge, and forward that to the city for approval.
Would it be two motions or one? You want to combine them
Motion
all?
second. I'll motion to do so.
I think we can do it in one motion.
Okay.
So moved by Joel,
Second.
seconded by Wayne. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is an executive session to discuss real estate matters, and I think there's been some other possibilities, some other properties coming up from the one that we've found so far, and I'd like to just postpone that until the next meeting so we can address some of these other properties. There's possibly one coming up in the shopping center right here in front of City Hall, and another couple of properties in the shops at Old Town that are, one of them is in the process of moving out now, and the other one probably will be maybe before too long.
I'll motion
Okay.
we hold off, get some more
Wait
information.
wait till the next meeting, we'll discuss it.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess with that, that's the only items we had on the agenda that we stand adjourned at 6:20 PM. Oh, Tom?
You say you need to specify a date for the postponement to come back.
Oh,
Your meeting, are you having a meeting on the 16th?
right,
Yes.
we are postponing it till the next meeting on the 16th. We have our budget hearing on the 16th, so we're still having that meeting, first budget hearing. We've got some other items to discuss at that time, but we didn't have them on the agenda, so we'll wait till week after, I guess that's week after next, till the regular meeting, and bring those up on the agenda then too. We stand adjourned at 6:21 PM.